It was the law-forsaken parasites. I had become obsessed. My quest to stop them. To avenge my partner, Philip. And my ex-partner, Bernice. And Lieutenant Jurgen. And those two informants had brought me to Rizzo's distillery. But it wasn't just the triple distilled deliciousness of Rizzo's Spectrum brand vodka that I found there. It was death. I made sure the Brain Eaters paid the price. But at what cost to me? It's you.
This is the Halcyon News Network with breaking news. Halcyon Helen has been murdered. Administrator Ludovico of Rizzo's refused to answer the big question on everyone's mind. Who will Spectrum Vodka's next spokesperson be? Claiming that a special investigation must be concluded first.
Captain, we have a communication coming in from one Administrator Ludovico.
Get off the transmission, Cedric. We agreed to let me do the negotiating. Law be with you, friend. I am Administrator Ludovico of the famed Eridanos Atmospheric Complex. But there's no need to stand on formality. You may address me as Mr.
What can I do for you, mister?
Halcyon Helen is dead. Murdered. Her death is the tragedy of our lifetime. As the face of our new product line, her murder is a stain on the Rizzo's brand. She was scheduled to unveil our newest product, Spectrum Brown, before this tragic event. But we cannot move forward with our unveiling until we apprehend the killer.
And what does this have to do with me?
All right, Ludovico, that's enough. You don't know what you're doing. Let me handle this. Captain Hawthorne, Sublight's favorite freelancer. I'm such an admirer of your work. Cedric Kincannon, Sublight Underground. I'm so glad we're hiring a third-party investigator. No one wants to see a troop of UDL guards stomping all over my hotel. Least of all me. The murder of Halcyon Helen is a heinous assault on this colony. I look forward to watching you find the miscreant responsible and drag them out of the shadows.
I wouldn't consider the death of a two-bit actor as an assault on the colony.
Two-bit actor? Oh, Captain. This isn't Spencer Woolridge we're talking about. This is Halcyon Helen, Princess of Periodicals, Duchess of Dramaturgy. You would not believe the money she made us on Dissident Busters.
For law's sake, Cedric, could you show a little discretion and not bring up your contraband operations in front of an outsider?
Ludovico, you wound me. I'm establishing rapport with our new contractor. Let's not give him the impression that you can't be trusted.
Do you really want to do this right now, Cedric? You want to antagonize me while I'm negotiating a contract. Because I promise you, I'll win.
We can do this anytime you want. I'll even make an appointment. I'm sure your schedule's wide open. What with your product launch being indefinitely delayed due to unforeseen murder.
All right, Cedric. If that's how you want to behave, I have no choice but to file an official reprimand on your permanent record.
Oh, please do. I'd love an official reprimand from a failed executive. Could you do me a favor and have it laminated?
Could we please stop this nonsense? Captain,
Who's this?
I'm Constable Maria Keene. Hiring a third-party investigator was my idea. I've been studying your dossier. You're a talented diplomat. You know how to ask questions, and you have a gift for getting answers without resorting to violence. As far as I'm concerned,
Well,
you're the ideal inspector for this case.
Inspector, eh? Inspector Dick B. I like the sound of that.
I'm pleased to hear that. The future of our complex may depend on your success. I'll leave you in the constable's care. Mr. Kincannon and I must have a word.
Fine. But Rizzo's is paying for that hotel room.
I can't tell you how grateful I am for your help. And even though they may not show their gratitude, I know Administrator Ludovico and Mr. Kincannon appreciate your involvement. Mr. Kincannon could lose his spaceport if board authorities took over the investigation, and if Rizzo's is forced to cancel its unveiling, we might never recover.
Yeah, well, those two seem to have some issues.
The Administrator oversees Rizzo's operations. Cedric runs the hotel and the spaceport. They're always at each other's throats. My life would be so much easier if they'd simply learned to work together.
Well, you seem competent. Couldn't you have dealt with this?
I represent the law, Captain. But what's happening between Mr. Kincannon and the Administrator is politics. Politics are not my area of expertise. The law is simple. Politics are complicated.
I see. You sound a bit worn out, Constable.
Me? Worn out? Perish the notion. My days are filled with catering to the oh-so-reasonable requests of Mr. Ludovico and Mr. Kincannon. What's not to like?
Alright, well, I think I've got everything I need.
Transmission terminated. Captain, we are now cleared to land at the Eridanos atmospheric complex.
Oh, yeah? What can you tell me about Eridanos?
Eridanos is a hydrogen-helium gas giant, distinguished by a well-defined ring system. The Eridanos atmospheric complex is a system of land masses propelled through a thin layer of the upper atmosphere, where humans are potentially capable of surviving.
Right. Well, I still don't know why they're trusting me to catch Halcyon Helen's killer.
There are several reasons why someone would hire your services. In descending order of likelihood, they are as follows: desperation, confusion, mistaken identity, inebriation, and genuine faith in your abilities.
Wait, did you say descending? I see. Well, thanks, Ada. Guess we're going to Eridanos. Alright.
Everything bad about Byzantium all in one place, with even less class somehow.
Yeah, well, just look sharp.
Hello there.
What
Hope
the?
your atmospheric entry wasn't too troublesome. As a guest of honor, you deserve the best in comfort. Sublight Salvage and Shipping Underground, or Slug, as we like to call ourselves, is delighted to welcome you to Eridanos. I'm the Grand Colonial Head Bellhop. I'm here to grab your bags and direct you, the Inspector, to the Grand Ballroom, which was the scene of the crime.
So what's the mood in the hotel? Are a lot of people upset?
I'll say. There's nary a soul here who wasn't a fan of hers in some respect. Just about everybody's shocked. Some people are inconsolable. Hell, even Black Hole Birdie, Helen's beau, has wandered off. Some folks think he had something to do with the murder, but I don't believe it.
The fans were very upset by the weak plot contrivances in her latest offering, though that hardly seems a worthy motive.
We should ask if they're comping the minibar. This might take a while, if you get me.
Folks get heated when it comes to serials and their actors, I suppose.
Typical show business, if you ask me.
Don't I know it? Reminds me of the shootout in the lobby between Odeon Pictures and Rotoreels back in the day. And you wonder why nobody mentions Rotoreels anymore.
Exactly. I don't think I've ever heard of Rotoreels.
Probably because they embarrassed themselves. The CEO of the company boasted that his crew could operate better and longer than Odeon Pictures mechanicals. I watched as Dr. Goodnight dragged him out of the lobby while he slept like a baby. The rest of his crew folded in a matter of days. I imagine the admin briefed you about Helen's part in the Spectrum Brown unveiling. Too bad about the postponement. Not so terrible as Helen's murder, but still a crying shame.
I thought he worked for Slug, not Rizzo's.
I do. Rizzo's happened to rent out the Grand Colonial Ballroom from Slug for the unveiling. A nice mutually beneficial event. But the murder's gone and ruined that. Along with 9 out of 10 of my favorite cereals. Anyway, I think I've held you up long enough. Once you're ready, head down to the lobby. The ballroom is just behind the elevators. Meanwhile, I'll grab your bags.
Bags? What bags?
You're making fun, right? Your luggage, belongings, kit, wherever you keep what you ain't wearing. You're still giving me a pretty blank look. Suppose it's none of my business, but do you just wear the same set of clothes all the time?
No, I usually wear whatever I strip from my enemy's corpses, honestly.
Well, reckon I can respect your candor, even if it scares me a smidge. Anyhow, I'll look for you in the Grand Ballroom later. Hope you can unravel this mystery, Inspector.
So yeah.
I'm sorry, sir, but while the hotel is an active crime scene, I regret to inform you that all new bookings, room upgrades, room downgrades, and in-room massages are Oh, you're the special inspector. Mr. Kincannon warned me you'd be checking in soon.
Who?
Why, you.
No, not the special inspector. I meant your boss.
Oh, Mr. Kincannon. He runs all Sublight Underground operations in the Eridanos atmospheric complex, including the Grand Colonial Hotel. But he keeps his office down in the warehouse district, near the docks. If you should require to meet with him in person, you're most likely to find him there. While you're here, Inspector, could I set you up with a room?
What kind of rooms do you have?
For you, only the best, sir, of course. You'll be staying in our luxurious penthouse suite, vacated just recently. So recently that unfortunately the room's still being cleaned. I'm sure it'll be ready for you by the time you've examined the crime scene. I believe Constable Keene should be waiting for you in the Grand Ballroom.
Well, I'll be on my way then. So yeah.
Oh, thank the law. Inspector, you don't know how relieved I am to see you.
Nice to meet you, Constable. We spoke over the Aetherwave.
Constable Maria Keene. It's good to meet you in person, Inspector.
Dr. Goodnight. Ecstatic to make your various acquaintances and so on. Are we finished with the pleasantries? There's something I'm excited to show you.
Oh, is it directions to the spa?
Are you talking about that program? What was it called? Perspiring Your Way to Productivity? No, what I have is much more invigorating.
Our coroner has developed a device which may prove useful in your investigation. Our office has instructed her to hand it over to you.
Our office has instructed her to hand it over to you. Oh, please. You make it sound as if I'm turning over stolen goods. Behold, my discrepancy amplifier. Hold it in your hands. Feel the way it hums with ontological potential.
Interesting. I'm guessing this device makes use of deterministic calculus?
You're rather sharp in your upper story. I can see why you're the inspector. The discrepancy amplifier uses a deterministic model of our universe to detect the discrepancy between what should be and what actually is. Then it renders any discrepancies visible by using the power of magnification.
That sounds strangely like scientism. Expecting the doctrine of the OSI to have any bearing on reality is quite an assumption.
Oh, goodness, no. I don't care for OSI doctrine. I just enjoy their math.
So it's basically a magnifying glass?
Yes. It's a magnifying glass, but an extraordinarily powerful one. It looks through the glass of reality itself.
I'm contractually prohibited from endorsing off-brand technology, but I'll bend that rule just this once. You'll want to peer into the amplifier and examine the crime scene.
I see. Thanks to the half-genius, half-mad scientific mind of Dr. Goodnight, you've been granted the discrepancy amplifier and the investigation device for uncovering clues throughout Eridanos. Be sure to equip it in a weapon slot before you continue your hunt for Helen's killer. Okay. So just this, put this, I guess put it in the one slot. Sure, why not? And then equip it. To catch Helen's killer, you'll need to use the discrepancy amplifier scope to reveal clues not visible to the naked eye. Once you've located some evidence, aim directly at it while zooming in with the scope and press the interact button to analyze it. Right. Right. I see. I see.
The discrepancy amplifier is now operational. Greetings, designated inspector and/or unauthorized larcenist. This unit has detected a discrepancy related to Halcyon Helen. Unscheduled expiration of. Begin amplification.
Ah, I see you've been designed with a modular analytical system. What else can you do?
The discrepancy amplifier has been programmed with advanced speech recognition, scientific analysis, and deterministic calculus protocols.
Oh, you'll love this. Amplifier, tell the inspector about your features.
Please do not interrupt the discrepancy amplifier. The discrepancy amplifier is programmed to take instruction from its registered or designated inspector.
How curious. I must have set its impertinence levels to flagrant.
This unit's features include an automated personality simulator. This unit has been programmed to simulate joy and satisfaction in assisting you.
Well, I can say the same about you, my little metal friend, or whatever it is you're made of. Let's get started. Tell me about this discrepancy you found.
This is a bottle of unreleased Rizzo's product. Helen appears to have attempted to use it to spell something as she expired, but all she managed was a sticky bee.
And what exactly is this brown stain that is related to Rizzo's product?
Rizzo's Spectrum Brown has not yet been released for consumption. Spectrum Brown was scheduled to be unveiled at the Eridanos Atmosphere Complex in partnership with Halcyon Helen.
So what if the B stands for brown?
Now calculating likelihood of Halcyon Helen using her final moments to endorse Rizzo's Spectrum Brown. Low to moderate likelihood.
Isn't Black Hole Birdie staying here?
Mr. Bertie Holcomb is indeed known to frequent places of leisure and hospitality, as rare as they are in Halcyon.
Correct. Bertie Blackhole Holcomb is a registered guest at the Grand Colonial Hotel.
Anybody else I should know about?
Accessing guest database B. The Grand Colonial Hotel is proud to serve the following VIPs. Bertie, Black Hole. Burbage 3001.
Make a note of this for later, Amplifier.
This evidence has been recorded for later reference. Now generating pre-approved compliment. Splendid work, Inspector.
Thanks. Alright. Moving on. Excuse me.
Nice.
I know. Not bad.
This footprint stands out from the normally spotless floor of the Grand Ballroom. Typically, the ballroom is cleaned twice daily, which means this must have been made by either Helen or her assailant or assailants.
Communing with nature in your own distinct way, I see.
Well, I taste an earthy taste with faint woody and fruity undertones. So, amplifier, do the size of these footprints match anything you have on record?
Footprint is a tailor-made 8.75, suggesting that its owner was very particular about their shoe size. It is also the exact size that Halcyon Helen typically prefers. There are traces of dirt throughout the footprint.
Can you analyze the dirt, amplifier?
The dirt carries traces of fertilizer, as well as the faint signs of crushed purpleberries and grass. Grass, fertilizer, and purpleberries can all be found in the purpleberry orchards, located not far from the Grand Colonio.
So Helen must have been at the orchards before she died.
This deduction appears sound.
Good work, Inspector. I had a feeling we'd make some progress once we brought you onto the case. You'll need Administrator Ludovico to grant you access to the orchards. Contact him through the secure access terminal in your penthouse suite. Check in with the concierge. Your room should be ready by now. If it isn't, I may have to go shake someone by the collar.
Alright.
The Grand Colonial front desk warmly welcomes you, Inspector. It's a pleasure to see you again. How may I be of assistance to you, Inspector?
I wanted to check if my room was ready.
Ah, yes. We are most pleased to offer you our grandest of grand accommodations, Inspector. The penthouse suite on our topmost floor is now available for you. The last guest left her belongings behind when she vacated unexpectedly, so we needed a little time to tidy the suite up for you. Simply call the elevator in the lobby, and our highly skilled operator will deliver you to your private floor with efficiency and cheer.
I see. So, this hotel sure is interesting.
It certainly is a marvel of modern ingenuity, luxury, and ambition. Please, allow me to answer any curiosities you might have about our building and the amenities on offer.
Alright, well, what can you tell me about the penthouse? What does it have to offer?
Twice the size of the next biggest room, and kitted out with any amenity you want, as well as many that you won't. Best to enjoy it while you can, Inspector. Typically, the only people who can afford the penthouse suite have enough bits to suffocate everyone on Terra 2. Also, please inform me if Woolridge gives you a hard time about getting a better room than his. Don't tell him I said this, but everyone on staff wants to strangle him.
Is there anything special about the upper levels?
Most certainly. All the important folks can be found in the utmost parts of the hotel. You can hardly walk 3 feet without bumping into a tossball grate or a bored exec. Though maybe don't bump into them. Could be harmful to your health.
What about the lower levels? No one seems to talk about them.
Who would be interested in a staff-only area? Most folks never ask about the sewers beneath Arizo's plant, either.
You can't honestly tell me there's nothing of interest in an entire half of the hotel.
Of interest to your investigation? Well, I suppose there is that one door we're not supposed to open. But I'm sorry, Inspector, I'm not authorized to grant you access to any staff sections of the hotel. You'll have to find a way in on your own.
I see. Well, I think that's enough about the hotel.
If you're sure.
So, you got some high-profile guests here, right? Okay, tell me about them.
My apologies, Inspector, but that would be a severe violation of guest privacy. We here at the Grand Colonial firmly believe that... All right, my supervisor just walked out of earshot. Some folks just don't understand the importance of gossip. About whom? And what would you wish to know?
Well, I heard Black Hole Birdie was staying here.
Ah, Birdie. Is he bigger than he is dumb, or dumber than he is big? I've a bet with a friend. Not sure we'll ever get it to pay out. Birdie used to be Helen's beau, though he isn't anymore, and not just because she's dead. If I had 1,000,000 bits, I'd spend every one just to learn what caused their split.
Well, did you notice anything about Helen before she died?
You know, out of everyone here, I probably knew the least about Helen. I'm not much of an Aether Wave watcher myself. And Helen always had a crowd of admirers chasing her, you see. So she rarely stopped to chat. Friendly enough, surely, but always seemed untouchable. Emphasis on seemed.
I suppose. Do you ever see Helen acting strangely?
Now that you mention it, she was usually calm and collected, but every so often I'd see her looking all wild-eyed and intense. It seemed as if she was determined about something. Or maybe she was just hungry. That woman ordered a lot of food. Maybe show business gives you a faster metabolism.
Maybe. What about Helen's co-star, Woolrich? Have any reason to want her dead?
If looks could kill, he'd have put her in the ground 10 times over. Man's clearly jealous of her success compared to his. See, I'd bet we're the only two people thinking about him in all of Eridanos. And I only am because you mentioned his name. If you leave woolly cow milk out, it turns to curds. Leave the curds out, they begin to get stale, then rot. Woolridge is on his way to the trash bin, and everyone knows it. Either he's in denial, or he knew Helen would be checking out soon, judging by his increasing demands for a room upgrade.
Interesting. We've got some kind of productivity guru here, right? What's her deal?
Her deal? Not making them. I'd laugh at my own comment, but everyone knows there's no bigger joke than the prophet of profitability herself. Didn't you hear Helen's interview? That woman is the definition of humbuggery. Anyone who gives her the time of day is a right fool. I mean, Spencer Woolrich has taken several of her productivity seminars, and look where it got him. Don't waste your time.
Alright, well, I think that's enough gossip for right now.
That's a shame, Inspector. What if I wanted to know a little about you?
Well, I like to let my reputation speak for me.
Then I guess we'll have to see if you find Helen's murderer, won't we? Myself, and all of the staff at the Grand Colonial, will be rooting for you, Inspector.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Finally checked in, I see. I hope you're fond of the penthouse. It's pretty much the best seat in the whole hotel. You shouldn't want for any amenity you might find elsewhere. Should act as a better headquarters for the investigation than any space dust covered ship. That and you ain't got room service on a ship. You ever need anything, come find me. Even if you don't, you can still swing by. I'm always happy to chat.
Well, did you know the victim?
Oh, of course. That is, maybe not on a personal level, but I'm one of her biggest fans. Even started an association of like-minded individuals. I'd lament not having anything to meet about anymore, but the newer tribe just ain't done it for us. Still, there goes my hopes of a Terran Monarch reunion episode.
But there are other celebrities, right?
Sorry, friend, but I guess you don't get it. Helen was special, had a certain quality about her, like she would really go out and fight injustice. You look at Woolrich and no disrespect to the man, but you just don't get the same feeling. He reminds me more of a vacuum suit without nobody in it. Don't tell him I said that. Now, what can I lend a hand with?
I'm curious about you, Norville. How did you get to be a bellhop?
Notice my battle-hardened physique, have you? Used to be in a mighty mean line of work. Been shot at 35 times. That is, I've been near people who were shot at 35 times. But to be honest, I never really enjoyed it, you know? It's one thing to tightrope walk between life and death every day, but for just a handful of bits? Nah. When this position came up, I jumped on it and made a lateral move from sublight to slug. I ain't ever looked back.
Well, is it different working with Slug in comparison to Sublight?
Well, Slug is more trustworthy for one thing, where Sublight is all about back alleys and backstabbing. Slug can be trusted not to salvage your ship when you turn your head.
I thought Slug and Sublight didn't engage much. How'd you move from one to the other?
Well, Slug is something like an offshoot of Sublight. It ain't too difficult to pivot from one part of the same company to another. Disconnects or no. That said, my departure may have been somewhat hasty.
What happened?
Well, you could call it a small lapse in judgment. Basically, I singled out a ship to salvage that I thought had been out for use for years. As it turns out, it belonged to a wealthy Byzantine who used it only to vacation. As it so happened, I still don't think she tried to use it, too satisfied with the luxuries of Byzantium. Still, I figured it was a good time to turn tail, in case that ever changed.
I see. Well, do you got any good stories? Sure you've seen a lot of people coming and going.
Stories? Huh. Actually, I think I got a couple now that you mention it. There used to be a whole toss ball court on one of the planetoids, but they ripped it out. Bench clears are a tad too lethal when there's an endless drop on every side.
Right. Well, back to my other questions. Mind if I ask you a few questions about the crime scene?
Please do.
Did you see Helen on the day of her death?
Of course I did. I just told you I found the body. Oh wait, you mean when she was still breathing? No, of course I didn't. Plus, it's untoward for an employee to speculate about the actions of a hotel guest. Not that I saw any hotel guests interacting with her.
It's also untoward not to answer my questions. Least if you like your bones whole.
Wow, I haven't heard a threat that venomous since yesterday morning. Picked up a TNL executive's bag by the wrong handle. Of course, it was my mistake. Day of her death, I saw Helen leave the hotel premises with the profit of profitability, and didn't see her come back. A little on the suspicious side, I think. Seemed especially strange, seeing how, as far as I was aware, the two didn't get on.
So what's the deal with this profit of profitability? Is she a guest?
Yep. Gives seminars on increasing profit margins and the like. Can't say much else, seeing how I ain't in the gossip market.
Sure. So why didn't Helen and the prophet get along?
As far as I can recall, Helen dismissed the lady's seminars in some kind of interview. Said her co-star used them, but she didn't. The top rungers are always ready to read between the lines of famous folks and seem to think the prophet was on her way out. Woman lost a ton of bits and is set to lose more.
I see. So back to my other questions.
I hope all that helped. I'd like to be as useful as I can in the investigation. I just didn't want to steer anyone the wrong way.
Got any idea who might have wanted to do Helen in?
Everyone's got theories. I don't reckon mine hold much more weight than anyone else's.
I see. You want to give me more details on how you came across the body?
Sure, I'd taken to checking the barroom every few hours prior to the unveiling. Just to make sure no sprats had snuck into the place. You understand. Found her right before I was set to head back to my room in the lower levels for my mandated 5-hour sleep period. Tell ya, thank the law for caffeinoid. Been too upset to get a wink of sleep since. And hey, now I can finally see smells.
An idea why Helen would have been in the ballroom after hours?
Beats all hell out of me. Maybe she was, practicing for the unveiling?
Norval, I'm gonna ask you a question. Did you kill Helen? You can tell me if you did. It'll be our secret.
What? No! Just because I found the corpse doesn't mean I made her a corpse. I was in shift all day. Besides, I loved Helen's serials. Well, the old ones anyway. The newer episodes are hot junk on a warm day.
Alright, well, back to my other questions.
Sure. What's on your mind?
Nothing. Say it.
Hello there, my inordinately esteemed guest. If my hello were any more earnest, this loudspeaker would explode. What authorized
Hello.
floor can I bring you to?
The penthouse suite?
Next stop, the finest seat in the house.
Oh.